Well, Usman Khawaja declared on 195. What does that mean for the World Test Championship? A bit of Sydney stuff, a bit of branded covers. Steve Smith goes past Sir Donald Bradman. Again, what does this all mean when Australia lose 4-0 to India? We're talking the TV rights there. We're talking the BBL, not so much the WBBL because that finished a while ago. We're talking the NESER catch. We're talking Zorba's run out. We are talking Pakistan, New Zealand. It all ended with 3 overs to go, 1 wicket needed, 15 runs to go. India, Sri Lanka. Of course, we are going to talk about Rishabh Pant's car accident as well. That's before we get into hashtag AskTGC. This episode is brought to you by Budgie Smuggler, as they all are. Use the code CHAMP at checkout and watch the magic happen. My name is Ian Higgins. Sam Perry sits next to me in our hotel in Sydney. Pez, why are we here?
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it. No, we're here because the Amazon test documentary Season 2 premiere is tonight, and they have co-opted us to promote it. Or some shit.
Yeah.
So we're here at the hotel, awaiting that and recording this here show.
Nice to be back in Sydney after 2 days back in Melbourne. But to that end, just want to just wrap up, just be a little bit navel gazing, and nasal gaving. Just for a moment, just talk about the end of the live show tour for Australia, season 2022-2023. Lots of questions actually about, especially people in the UK. Are we coming to the UK? Yes, we are. Just trying to lock in dates at the moment and venues. But yeah, that's all to come. But just to wrap up the shows in Australia this time around, we had Shane Watson for the last two episodes. Fuck me. Last two live shows at the Comedy Store in Sydney. And they were amazing fun. What an unbelievable effort. Great value all round. Had a message actually to someone who was at the Ponting show in Melbourne, and he said, like, I don't remember anything, but I know I had a good time. And I'm a bit the same. I'm a bit the same. I don't know what day it is. I don't know why I'm back here again for the fourth time in 10 days. But it has been really nice to see everyone again. I keep saying this most weeks, but to be able to see people again, to see the customers again after such a long time. And lots of people came with their customer reference numbers, just for a bit of feedback, some complaints, obviously. But to actually see people's faces for the first time in 3 years after the old novel coronavirus, and since Colin de Grandhomme opened the bowling at the SCG 3 years ago, it has actually been really nice to see people again. And so thank you every single person that came to all of the live shows across Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney. I think 8 shows in about 5 weeks, something like that. And also, of course, thank you to all of our guests, ASHTON, Stoyne, JL, Punter, Watto, all close personal friends, obviously, and that's how I'll address them forever. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to every single person that came to all of those shows,
and
also the people that were going to come then didn't because they got too flogged at the cricket. Okay, let's talk.
No. More. A huge thanks to the guy who broke into the backstage of our show in Sydney, especially.
Yes.
Who walked straight past you.
Yeah.
Because he'd had, I think, roughly 18 to 24 drinks. That's a demographic, but it's also a number of drinks he may have had. And he walked up to me and he said, "I love you." He goes.
And they got several photos with you.
Got several photos. And we laughed. We sent him on his way.
Yeah.
We pondered whether he should be kicked out or not. We thought, nah, let him go.
Nah, he's all right.
And then we later found out, and by later I mean a minute later, that he then got up on stage. Many punters thought it was part of the show.
He was going to open for us.
He had to go.
Yeah, he had to go.
Just with the live shows, mate. Apart from we played a massive venue in Adelaide. And I love going to Adelaide, but other than that, it was completely sold out.
Yeah,
which was cool.
Yeah,
I think over 2,000 people came to see us.
Yeah,
which is amazing. And just on top of those thanks as well, I just want to shout out the people who helped us on tour, Mark Wilson and Andy Kelly, two better credentialed people on tour you will not find socially in terms of experience.
In terms of experience, stadium tours for their own bands, Coachella recently, managing bands there, and the great cricketer.
Yeah, that's right. One of them's played a couple of venues himself, and can only imagine our embarrassment when he would say, "Would you like guys like a coffee?" It's like, no, sit down.
Yeah.
And we have a little bit of work to do immediately, but there's some news coming about India, which we're really looking forward to telling you about. A little bit of work to get through first, and same for the UK, where people maybe I'd look forward to such material as things about, Fred Truman and a connection potentially between Imran Khan and Little St. James. But we don't know.
And
we don't know.
So many of those people that came to see us were on Patreon, patreon.com/greatcricketer. If you need any reminder here about what you get at Patreon, a lot of people got VIP tickets. They got early access to tickets. They got discounts for tickets depending on what tier you went for. 20% off live show tickets. You get pre-sale access to VIP tickets. You also get discount off merch, all those things, etc. Plus, you get all the reviews for all of our dailies that have happened across the summer. And there's obviously 4 tests coming up for Australia. India will be doing the dailies for that. That all lives exclusively on Patreon. The audio does. So if you wanna support TGC, go and find us there. Okay, Australia, South Africa. Do you want to just start with just straight off the bat, just a bit of Sydney weather stuff?
Fuck yeah.
NRMA first cab off the rank. Just getting their brand out there immediately by sponsoring the covers. And that's a bit how it's been in Sydney the last few years, because it just rains every year. It seems to rain that first week of Sydney, and we're missing days of cricket. A lot of people saying this was a results pitch. It probably was. But we missed a day and a half of cricket, so that wasn't possible. And that's been for 4 of the last 5 years have been draws, right, in Sydney, and because of the rain. So credit to NRMA for getting their brand out there by sponsoring the covers.
Yeah, like one thing I particularly appreciated was how in the game because we all played, lost approximately 150 overs to rain and bad light. And I just love cricket, and we're going to touch on this with New Zealand, Pakistan as well. Just loving cricket, how despite that 150 overs lost, and then you get a great final day, couple of results on the table, and at 4:45 in the afternoon, the umpire just, during daylight savings, literally a construction to save light in the day, to make the most of the light.
And the farmers.
The umpire gets there at 4:45, despite all that context, and say, "Yeah, last hour here, gents. Yeah, just now to go here."
And it's a very, very clear signal when the last hour starts. Yep. Just reaching up to the watch and just tapping the watch. That's it. That to me, because 4 doesn't make any sense. No. 6, there's a little bit of hallelujah gear with it, especially when Billy Bowden did it. Outs, I'm not really sure. I think it's a prostate exam, maybe. But the last hour, that is very clear what that message is. Just like, we are about to fucking wrap this bad boy up and get on the schooners. Yep. Schooners because it's in Sydney.
Yeah, that's right. So there was the opportunity.
A tribute to Steve Waugh.
In terms of, I would have thought in cricket, like, I get that live show reference, but I would have thought in cricket that there would be some kind of premium put on finishing allowing the game to finish.
Okay.
Getting the game to finish.
It's been a working week. We've given it the working week.
When you've lost overs.
Right.
I would have thought so, but no. It's just,
this will be
just an hour to go, guys. That's the game.
Yep.
Yeah, just kind of like when someone catches the ball and it's like, nah, not really.
Nah. If I can find as much evidence as I like that this is not out. Pez, during one of the dailies, I regret positing sarcastically, like, oh, what was Cummins doing when he declared on 195? Since then, when Khawaja's on 195, not out. Now, since then, the amount of commentary and even articles from certain publications being like basically calling Cummins like a massive prick for declaring, like, how much of a fucking dickhead you'd have to be to think like, oh, why did he do that? What do you reckon, guys? What do you fucking reckon, you dopey fucking cunts? How fucking dumb do you have to be? Just let him bat for a few more overs. Just let him. I mean, it was going to be a draw anyway. A fucking revisionist perfectly. I mean, when we posited that on the days, I was being incredibly sarcastic. But now, it seems like that was actually a common thought for some people, being like, "Oh, I should have just let him play." Now, like, of course, Khawaja can be upset. Like, from a personal perspective, it's like, I would have loved to score 200. I think he even said that. I would have loved to have had a double 100 next to my name. But like, they're trying to fucking win the game. Like, I mean, you said this in the dailies, Pez, like, literally last World Test Championship cycle, they didn't make the final because they bowled their overs too slowly. Now, like, as it turns out, the result, of course, they're 2 down. South Africa 2 down in the last day. It's not close, and, hindsight's a wonderful thing, etc. But, like, I mean, fuck me, how dumb some cunts are that they deliberately want to be like, nah, come and see. I'm not really sure about it. Shut the fuck up.
It seems to come from a particular quarter of the media as well, or the community. A particular quarter that seems to have it in for Cummins. Perhaps maybe there's an agenda. I don't know why. I can't imagine why. Looking outside, lovely day outside. Been raining here, but very mild day.
Loving this weather. Loving it.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen the UK at the moment. It's very balmy.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Always changes though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And
it's 8 degrees in Melbourne a couple.
But it's a
weeks ago.
difficult one. It's a difficult one for those people, for that particular part of the community, because they're doing so trying to defend Usman Khawaja, and as one person said,
quite a paradigm.
and as one person said to me, a friend wrote to me, he said, some wonderful mental gymnastics going on in the Cummins is a flog crowd now that they have to defend a dancing Muslim. Now, I just want to say thanks, Toovs, not Jeff. I don't know if he wants to be named, but I thought it was a great line, and I'm attributing kind of half attributing to those who would know.
Yeah.
But thanks, Toovs. So, that's what it's... I mean, just the proportion of articles discussing this, it's just poking a few bits. I reckon someone just goes, Cummins, climate change, Khawaja, Muslim stuff, culture wars, declarations, Bradman, fucking, that hits the buttons, get it out there, bang, clicks, put a few ads around it, there's a business model, move on to the next thing, I mean, now, there's no problem with it.
Okay, here is my problem with Usman Khawaja.
Oh, shit.
195 red, by the way. He now averages more at the SCG than any other player averages in Australia. I think Bradman had a higher Bradman's average at the MCG was like 120 or some shit. Khawaja now averages 130 there. I think he's got that's 300s in his last innings of the SCG. Uzi, you're a Sydney boy. You are Sydney. Fuck this Queensland stuff off. Look at the SCG is your home. People still talk about that 30 on debut at the SCG. That might be the best one of all of them.
He knows.
He knows. Come on, Usman, you're home. You're home.
He's because it's kind of like the man doth protest too much. Every time they ask him about it, he's like, no, this was my home. Like I did grow up here, etc., etc.
And now I'm a proud Queenslander.
Yeah,
come on, come on.
That's exactly what a proud Queenslander would say. Yeah. I say the same thing to Alan Border. Not that I've ever met him.
It's just one of those fan
There's
accounts
certain
on
parochialism
Instagram.
that sticks with you when you're from Sydney. You don't talk about it. Everyone else talks about you. You don't fucking know anything else exists in the world. Yeah. That's partly why.
Paris, Tokyo, New York, Sydney.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kemba. But
that's right.
Uzi's a Sydney boy. Uzi's a New South Wales boy. He knows it. We know it. I don't know why we're talking about this.
And then I mean, part of this whole game, Pez, for us was from the fan experience. When I say us, is just like it was just the whole summer's just been pure orgasm of numbers. Because Steve Smith then goes past Bradman with his 100, his 30th Test 100. He's the first one of sort of the Fab Four, if you will, and I know that you won't, but you will anyway, to reach 30 Test 100s. Kane Williamson got a 200 in the first Test in Pakistan. I forget which city was that. Wasn't Karachi.
I can't remember where they played the first Test of New Zealand-Pakistan.
Yeah, which was a week ago. Anyway, so 30 Test 100s, but like, so he moves past Michael Clark and Matt Hayden for most Test runs. He's now got 8,600 Test runs. The lowest high score of any one of the top five is 175. Travis Head. Blokes throwing away triple hundreds throughout the summer. Basically, everyone gets a double hundred, more or less. There's been more double hundreds from Australian batsmen this year than any other summer before. There was 3, plus Khawaja gets 195, so nearly 4. The record before that was 2. Everyone's scoring runs. Cam Green gets his first 5 far. There were wickets for milestones for Cummins, 200 Test wickets. There was 300 Test wickets for Stark. Nathan Lyon took the most wickets at Adelaide. Steve Smith got the record. Steve Smith and Lyon had the most wickets for catches and bowled combinations, moving past was it Taylor and Warne.
Did Smith go equal for catches with AB as well, or
the
something
whole
as well?
Summer was a fucking record.
Yeah.
And wasn't it so good that we can just finish this Test match with being like, geez, Cummins declared early, too much rain. Should we be playing this? Umpires, dog shit. Gaffney, what's he doing?
100%.
What about the catches? Any danger of those being out?
That is why I am positing right now this has been the greatest summer of Test cricket in my living memory.
Yeah, it might be.
For the reasons you say, because like I made an argument during the live show that paradoxically, the way Australians enjoy cricket is by complaining about every single thing that happens. Nothing can be good in cricket. like this was a fucking autist's dream this summer. It was milestones deluxe.
Yes.
And Yet, as Peter Lawler, chief sports writer, I believe, at the Australian wrote this morning, and it's tongue-in-cheek, and he went on to say it's glorious summer. But he started by saying, Australia failed to finish off another Sydney Test. They failed to guarantee itself a place in the World Test Championship final, and they failed to identify the second spinner for India.
Perfect.
And that's my despite what you say, that's my fucking takeaway from this.
Yeah, not good enough.
How come they didn't do everything I wanted? How come they weren't perfect? How come they didn't win every single hour of every single day of every single test?
I don't know.
And I'm not happy with who player of the series was.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that.
No.
What's that about? Fucking bullshit.
I'm not happy with the weather here from my own home.
Yeah.
We'll get on to the TV rights in a second.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of this Australian team. That's why you know that they're getting back to their best. Like, I can now lament, despite all of that, their inability to win a game in 3.5 days on the slowest wicket of all time.
Yep.
You know, Hoff came back. And we saw his shapes again. He's getting it to reverse tang. I love the shape. I love the fucking... I loved how it all looked. You know, like Warner's player of the series, even though, you know, Head won the game for them in Brisbane almost single-handedly. Then he made 50, then he made 70, all off about as many rocks. But unlike Warner, he doesn't have the nuclear codes. And I would advise him to gain a few codes. If he wants to win back-to-back Australian Summer Player of the Series.
Yes. Because he won the Ashes last year as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let's talk about AGAR, the second spinner they picked. So the options for the game heading into it were Bareback Morris, they were Boland, and they were Hazelwood to replace, and also AGAR to replace Stark, who's got a finger,
digit,
and so does Cam Graham. Both of them have got Malmeningas, don't they? Both of them got fingers.
Malcolms. Both of them have Malcolms.
Anyway, I actually thought, in the context of this game, I think Australia missed Stark as much as anything, just to even just fucking create some footmarks. As much as his bowling has been sensational since about 2019, I think he's averaged like 20. It's low 20s, I think he's averaged with a stack of wickets. He hasn't missed a game since then. And Australia's won almost every game that he's played in since then. So I thought they missed him a lot in the context of that. Anyway, so he didn't play, and so they decided to play... Hazelwood came in for Stark, and then they played AGAR as well instead of... they played AGAR ahead of Boland.
Yeah.
And then they played Renshaw, obviously, who had COVID during the game, but he basically, he actually hogged the strike for Khawaja to get his 200. Not many people talking about that.
No, that's right.
Fellow Queensland boy as well. So he'll never play again.
He doesn't want to play again. Every time he gets a gig, he shits himself or gets COVID.
Yeah. What's doing? So AGAR, and he would say this himself, it wasn't great. I don't have the scorecard in front of me, do I? No, I do not.
His figures didn't look too bad. I think it was enough for 58 of 22 or something like that. You know, it's not like he didn't get Bryce McGained.
Sure. I mean, 22 overs in the context of that match was probably not very many. And yeah, it wasn't great. But I don't know. I mean, Pat Cummins said afterwards that he's going to go to India. I mean, I'm sure that'd be the case anyway. But
yeah, he made some nice comments afterwards. I hadn't seen that yesterday when we'd done the review. He did come and said, "Look, I thought he did well." He said only 3 wickets fell to spin, 800 runs. It was probably a fast bowler's deck. He goes, there wasn't a lot of spin where bowlers pitch spin, you know. It's probably protecting him a little bit as well. He said, he said it wasn't an audition. He is going to India. It's a lot different in India, and the left arm angle is going to be good. Nevertheless, I think, you know, my first impression seeing AGAR after all that time out was appreciating Nathan Lyon's accuracy. Now, AGAR wasn't particularly accurate in that game, but I don't know how you can expect that much from someone who's barely played a red ball game for a whole bunch of reasons and whose record doesn't back it up. I thought he was an investment pick. I think there's an opportunity to bowl him a little bit more as well, given that he's essentially being picked to go to India anyway, and the game was petering out to a draw. But there you have it. You know, like I think a broader question with not just with AGAR but Australian cricket generally is like we are pretty, and it is but we are pretty good at winning in our formulaic way. Like we set up our formation, you know, and particularly with the bowling, 3 quicks, 1 spinner, Cameron Green to chop out a couple of overs there with some good stuff of his own. And when Australia has to get a little bit funky or has to kind of winkle teams out or find different ways to take wickets, we can look a little bit benign. And I think yesterday's performance, that's what makes that SCG game quite interesting. Can Australia find a different way to win or a different way of structuring it up? But it's never always seemed to kind of maybe lack a bit of the tactical imagination or the inspired captaincy, bowling changes or field placements or whatever. But and that'll be me just always finding fault with a team that's top of the table.
Yeah, we said this a couple of times during the dailies, but Steve O'Keefe was a good bowler. And he may well, if he was still playing first class cricket, may still well be the next best spinner in Australian cricket, especially with the left arm option. It just seems so critical in Asia to have a left arm spinner where they get so many wickets with natural variation. Natural variation basically meaning sometimes it spins, sometimes it doesn't. No one really knows why, but it slides in, hits the front pad, and it's LBW City. Steve O'Keefe did that so many times during the season when they were during that series where they last went to India, which was 2017. Thank you. It's been a long time since we went to India then, isn't it? A long time. But it'd be 6 years, I guess. 6 years since last went. But
oh, definitely.
So I think it made me appreciate that level of accuracy as well and that level of skill. They invested quite a bit in Swepson, didn't they? And they had a look at Swepson in Sri Lanka and Pakistan, and it just looked like the leg spinning option. Now Swepson's a terrifically highly skilled bowler that was taking wickets in fourth innings for Sheffield Shield numerous times for Queensland, and he won games for Queensland there, so that was interesting. But then the wickets he was bowling on when he did play was I think you need a left arm. I think you need a left arm spinner like in Asia, just with that variation where they can get wickets with the LBW and maybe one that turns and gets the nick to Steve Smith at slip. But I don't know. I was just looking at how AGAR bowled yesterday, and it was just you're right. You're right with Nathan Lyon. The level of skill and the consistency. AGAR was bowling full tosses and half trackers, so it was maybe he was trying too hard. Maybe he's also allowed to be nervous. It was his first Test match he's played in Australia. He's trying to win. He's trying to win a game.
You got to invest. You got to pick him. Just let him bowl. Just bowl and bowl and bowl.
Well, that's what I was going to say with the investment thing. You look at how spinners, generally speaking, it takes them a long time to get into international cricket now in Test matches. Even Warren had to. But look at how Nathan Lyon started. It was years before he actually won a game for Australia in the fourth innings. Actually might have been against India maybe in the Adelaide Test match, first time he took wickets in the fourth innings. You look at Jack Leach, taking him a couple of years to get into it, finishes the year just gone with 40-something wickets. It just takes time for guys to adapt to Test match cricket. Now the problem is with the investment, I think, is that their investment isn't. Even Swepson. That was my point with Swepson that I was going to make. They invested in Swepson for quite a long time, getting him around the group, and then he played, and it's not really worth it because he's not going to play enough games. Now with AGAR, their investment's basically one game. There's no warm-up games in India, and they're going to play him in that first Test match at Nagpur. Is it the first test in Nagpur?
Tough school.
It's fucking hard.
And with Swepson, I agree that I think that left arm angle in India in particular is what you want, and I think that. Even if you go back and look at Shane Warne's results in India, right arm wrist spin is getting pumped in India.
Doesn't really work,
no matter how good you are. Forgotten that people remember, that Swepson couldn't get the job done in Pakistan on some pretty flat wickets. He did get the job done a couple of times in Sri Lanka, although they lost. They lost that second test.
It was also
there.
Unlucky, wasn't he? He got a lot of drop catches and stuff.
He started to improve, as you can expect from all spinners. I would like to have seen how he'd go yesterday in his own country. But we're talking about a broader issue, really. This is what's coming up in India is really it's what Test match cricket really is. The measure of a good side is their ability to win away in tough conditions against good sides. A lot of teams can win at home now, and there's such a disparity in conditions and the skills and the strengths that they ask for that's when you can judge who is a really good player and who is a really good team. That's why Steve Smith's the best bat in the Australian team, because he can go to India and he can dominate. Now, none of the other bats have done that.
His average away from home is nearly 60.
Yeah, and it's the skills. It's the disparity in the skill to be able to do it at home when guys are bowling at his head at 145. Then you can go to India where it's turning square or straight, and you can get it done there as well. India, when they came out here in 2018 and then 2020, 21, they have now developed a battery of fast bowlers who can get it done. Now, that's something they couldn't do before. That is to their credit massively.
Yeah.
Australia has never really been able to develop that battery of spinners or batsmen who can go over there and counter that spin. And that they're structural systemic issues, right? So, but it is what makes it fascinating. It's difficult to see how Australia goes over there and how we can have spinners that go through the Indians the way they do ours. But that's the challenge, and you're right. Like I feel sorry for Agar because it seemed to be the sort of innings that would leave a lot of people in the public going like, oh, well, is that like, if that's what it is, then I don't want a piece of that. But I think it's more complicated. I think you have to keep bowling him, and I think he will produce, but, he doesn't have a lot of time between now and India, which is basically nothing.
Yeah, a lot of net bowling. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people talking about Todd Murphy, friend of the show, obviously, 22-year-old, and exactly Mad Dog Murphy, I mean, he may well be a very good spinner in Asia as well. Like
that's a tough baptism too. How old is he? 22.
22.
Yeah,
22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, have a crack against Rohit, etc. Virat's down the deck to that. I mean, good luck to him. I mean, it's really interesting stuff. I won't name who this was, but when there was conjecture over who would be picked for that final test against South Africa, it's just in the press box. I think there was a lot of talk between whether it would be between Agar, Murphy, and Swepson. Right. And Spurgeon just said some people were making the point that, well, you want that person who turns it away from the right-hander. That person said, well, why don't we just have a look at each of their averages against right-handers, just how they bowl the right-handers? And you would find that Todd Murphy has a superior record to right-handers than those he's competing against.
Right, really?
So, there shouldn't always be prejudice based on kind of preconceived ideas about angles. I mean, a good bowler is a good bowler, particularly if they land it consistently. And, we have seen, right arm offies can go well there.
Well, Simon Harmer was probably the pick of the bowlers.
Yeah.
Ahead of Maharaj. Yeah. So let's talk about South Africa. I thought overall extremely disappointing. They are now 4th in the World Test Championship, so it's funny how quickly you can change those rankings. So they obviously came here being 2nd. They had a great series win at home against India. To your point, I mean, almost every team now wins at home. I mean, there are so few away series victories, unless you're playing in Pakistan, because their record, they haven't won a game in 8 goes at home. So there's that. But and I suppose on top of that is Australia did so well to really target the captain and really try to get him out lots of times, because that actually worked. They really targeted him and he got out heaps. Elgar obviously wants to remain as captain.
Well, if you do target them, it makes a big difference.
It does make a big difference, yeah.
We're targeting this bloke,
he averaged 9 for the series, I'm pretty sure. His average, not being captain's like above 40, with as captain's like 25 or something like that. But overall, South Africa, I mean, there was a couple of really impressive spells from Nortje. Rabada, I've seen Rabada bob better, but he's still fucking great. But just
he was down though.
He was down. Ngidi, I mean, I was expecting more actually from him, especially in Brisbane. But even in a low scoring game. But I mean, apart from that, I mean, fuck, there wasn't much, was there? I mean,
no.
it was.
Verreynne was a shining light for them. I mean, he played a couple of innings that were exactly what you'd ask for from a dynamic wicket-keeper batsman.
Yeah.
Not sure his gloves are all there, but he's a good bat.
I heard on commentary when Bavuma came to the crease maybe yesterday or maybe in the first innings, like I think it was Mark Howard who said like he's been a thorn in the side for Australia this series, averaging 33. It's like, I mean, fuck me. I mean, that actually is his average. He got 120 50s. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot of... was a lot of grade cricket about South Africa this summer, and I'd kill to average 33 in grade cricket.
That's a fucking good summer. Yeah. Warner Player of the Series. Okay, what's that?
Yeah, I don't really understand what that is.
Travis Head has been outstanding this summer.
I don't understand.
A couple of wickets
they
as well.
explain it in terms of like broadcasters and a 3-2-1 system or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But
213 runs for the series.
That seems like it was all pretty close, and let's give it to Davey because a bit going on.
Can I give you some World Test Championship implications after this series?
Can't
okay.
wait.
Yeah, it gets pretty loose, but stay with me here. Okay, so when Australia lose 4-0 to India.
Stop saying it.
Yeah. Okay, and if Sri Lanka beat New Zealand in New Zealand 2-0,
yeah,
Australia will not make the final.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What if anything other than that happens?
yeah, okay. So if Australia lose 3-0
Yeah.
in India, and then even if Sri Lanka beat New Zealand 2-0 in New Zealand, Australia would still finish with a 0.29% higher percentage average than Sri Lanka. So they'd still make it. So if Australia lose 3-0 India and then Sri Lanka don't win 2-0, then Australia's in. If India win against Australia 3-1 or better, they'll be in the final no matter what. So India 3-1 or better, they're in no matter what. Okay, if India and Australia finishes 2-2 and Sri Lanka win 2-0 in New Zealand, then India won't be in the final. And then it gets into it. Sort of interesting. Okay, South Africa can still make it. If they beat the West Indies 2-0 at home, they'll probably do that. Sri Lanka win 1 game or less against New Zealand, and then India lose the series against Australia,
Right.
then South Africa will make it.
I mean,
that's the implication. So it's
just
basically
listening to that, like, India could not be more incentivized to roll out some of the biggest fucking Bunsons of all time. You know what I mean?
one
And
day
I
test
know people
matches.
sit there and go, oh, when it's spending too much, it actually brings Australia into it. Yeah, not over 4 tests, mate. Maybe one.
Yeah,
we might get you in one if something crazy happens.
Yeah.
But
Like Smith just outbats everyone.
where look, Australia's doing you want as soon as this series starts, I'm gonna be fucking ropeable if Australia doesn't win every session. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Cummins lost a toss.
Yeah,
Fuck's
that's right.
sake.
Yeah, he's won them all. Now he's starting to lose tosses.
Yeah.
Things not going Australia's way. But
How they get to India? Fly there, did you? Okay. Wow. Okay, you've flown there. Very interesting. Okay,
That's right.
about your
Is that a
emissions.
jumbo jet?
Yeah.
Is that on the jumbo, as I heard one person describe it? Not only flying, but on a jumbo.
Why don't you fucking swim there like we did back in the day? Who are you talking to?
Yeah. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I'm just looking at Sri Lanka, New Zealand, going, is Bolt playing? Is he making himself available?
Yeah.
Wait, is that in New Zealand?
It's in New Zealand, yeah.
We should be okay. We should be okay.
Yeah. Sri Lanka winning 2-0.
Yeah.
It'd be quite something.
So, yeah, I mean, as we've said before, what we're looking at is pretty comprehensive win for India over Australia over there, and then we'll just get the Oval and hopefully early in the season balls nibbling about
That's
a bit.
right. As a good warm-up for the Ashes.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is we'll get pumped in India, we'll win the World Test Championship, then we'll lose the Ashes. I'm not satisfied in any capacity.
That's right.
It means fucking absolutely nothing to me.
Like any credit in the bank that all Australian bats and bowlers have now, like watch that fucking dissolve like a fucking like Metamucil in the water. You know, like when in the first hour, when Axar just goes bing. Straight through. It's like, oh, heady. Like, this bloke's fucking can't play. Go back to tea tree gully, mate.
There'll be big questions overhead. Cameron Green, go back to tea tree gully. Cameron Green's going to get the big old front dog down there, front pad blown off. And then there's going to be all these billets World Test Championship finals, which Australia will make. They'll beat India in England, and
but
then
Australia will be demoralised.
And then it'll be like, no, fucking, this is a great team. They've achieved the heights. 1 week later, first session, Edgbaston, Anderson.
It's awesome.
What the fuck
man.
is going on with this team? Sweeping changes. It needs to start at Sheffield Shield level.
Yeah.
What's Todd Murphy doing? He
Argus
needs to come
review.
in. Have the openers gone on too long? Khawaja Warner, by playing too long. Get rid of it. Change everything. That's what's going to happen.
Exactly. It's look.
And I'll be leading that charge, by the way.
I think, and this is the thing, like zooming out. That's why this summer was great too, because it's like it's placed us in the most vulnerable emotional state for what's to come. You know what I mean? Like we are sitting there riding high. Go, what a glorious summer
Everyone
it
else
was of
shit.
milestones galore. I'm hearing names like Bradman and fucking lower third.
Decimation of international cricket from other nations.
100.15.
Yeah.
You know, like guys are mic'd up, having fun with South African players, etc.
Steve Smith talking about like I was getting to the happy hour runs. I was going to try some stuff in India against Maharaj and stuff.
We're talking about the rough being pizza and stupid shit like this. We're all just going, God, Australian cricket's back, you know? And now we're just going to have to go to India and then we're going to go to England and it's going to be a fucking roller coaster.
Mate, there's going to be so much chat about we need to prioritise Sheffield Shield cricket.
Oh, mate.
And it's like, meanwhile, like no one's playing anymore because everyone's playing 6 months a year in the UAE.
Cummins could be in jail by the end of the Ashes. Let's face it. Like it's like lock him up.
Check his emails.
Yeah, that's right.
Cummins emails.
Pizzagate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storm the capital.
Yeah. That's great. That's what we want, isn't it? That's what we want.
Let's talk about the TV rights deal. So the TV rights deal has come in, and it's going to remain with Seven and Foxtel and KO. There were other offers on the table from Nine, and the highest bidder was Paramount and Channel 10. But they have stayed with the incumbents.
Hockley denies that, by the way. He's
does he?
At the top, but
My
anyway,
mistake.
Who knows?
My mistake.
There and thereabouts.
Okay. So that's the deal, I suppose. In some, like when you hear the announcement is like they're going to stay with the same, it's like, oh yeah, of course they were. You know, there was this, like, once I heard the result, there was a sense of like inevitability with that. But maybe that's just a little bit of hindsight myself using that. But I don't know. I'm not sure how happy people are with that. But I don't know if it's just almost like a stick to beat the broadcasters and CA with, because it's like, I'm not happy with Seven, I'm not happy with Fox, like whatever. I don't know. Like, is anyone ever happy? I mean, there's genuine concerns about it. More matches being put behind a paywall, I suppose, or Channel 7 don't get every Big Bash game. They get 33 out of 43.
Same as last time. 7-year agreement. I think some of the drop downs are like shorter Big Bash, 10 games per team now rather than 14, from 60 odd to 43. Less is more. Like Richard Dawkins with God, many gods, one God, no God.
Right.
A lot of people happy because the Big Bash is shorter, more dynamic, allows for a little bit more oomph with each game. I think they also shortened it because the SA20 and the UAE one is creeping into the schedule a bit, and a couple of guys want to knock about in those tournaments as well, so they need to carve out that schedule. I think an interesting one that hasn't been explored that much is that Seven has secured the digital rights, which means, I think for a lot of people early on in the piece when Seven and Fox had the rights would try and stream the cricket through Seven. If you weren't paying for KO, like many people don't, you may, as a younger person or whatever, like that might be you may be native to streaming, and you go into 7+ and see that you just got a scorecard.
There's a scorecard.
But now you will be able to watch whatever Seven broadcasts on free-to-air TV. This deal, you will be able to watch on presumably 7+ or whatever their streaming platform is for 2024. So I think that is an interesting one, mainly because TGC watch-alongs are in play. Press the red button. Also, a lot of people asked, well, okay, Cricket Australia Channel 7, like you guys were sort of at loggerheads, and there seemed to be a federal court case going on.
What happened with that?
And now Channel 7 appears to have secured more rights for less money. What are we looking at vis-a-vis?
The federal court case? I think they stopped it.
And Hockley says the relationship's been reset, so all good.
No further questions from me, Your Honour.
White ball team behind the paywall. That's a shame.
But white ball's dead, as we know. It's all about red ball these days.
Right.
Shield cricket, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And Red Bull.
That's right. Ranji Trophy.
So
championship.
Much the same, I suppose. It would have been a pretty big risk to like have one deal with Seven and Fox, and then fuck off out of there and go to a new one in 10 and Paramount. I could see the argument both ways. Like it seemed to be more money with Paramount, and they did the BBL really well when they last did it, and they didn't seem to want to take Cricket Australia to court. But
that's right. They didn't, did they? Yeah.
Important to note also, just in terms of analysing the cost or the price, they got 1.5 bill there and thereabouts, which is when you factor in inflation, it's down on the last deal, which I think says a little bit about cricket, but it also says a lot about global headwinds in terms of sports rights as well, and generally a bit less money knocking about. So. And it led Dan Brettig to pose whether Cricket Australia will now investigate some kind of privatisation to make up for the capital that they may need, having, I suppose, in relative terms, lost money on this deal. I'm not sure how advanced that is, but he did report the other day that CA were meeting with a couple, I think it was Morgan Stanley, to just and a working group had started to investigate the benefits of privatisation, heaps of models that can take, etc. All a bit kind of X's and O's, this chat, but really it comes down to this is the primary money that funds the game. I suppose they've got a little bit of it, but I guess we'll see how CA wants to take it now.
Let's talk about the BBL. Okay, so last night the Sixers beat the Thunder in what they call the Sydney Smash.
Yeah, the Smash.
So that makes the Sixers ahead on the table.
Heaps of people just lying all over the streets here in Sydney, just had a massive one. Watch the Smash. Fucking,
I saw flares on the street.
Yeah, that's right. Or around the east, we're in the eastern suburbs here. Fucking, it was Sydney Sixers territory. Absolutely fucking pumping. Boy, you had the Buenos Aires footage after Argentina won the World Cup, rounding the Double Bay Way. Fucking hanging off trees.
Yeah.
Beauty. People still going.
Anyway, the Sixers on top of the table, even though they played 2 more games than the Scorchers, who are 1 point behind them. Okay. The Scorchers are sort of leading the tournament, but and the Melbourne Stars are down the bottom on 4 points after 8 games with just 2 wins next to their name, and everyone is in between that. So
Sixers and Scorchies, and there's a team struggling.
Yeah, that's right.
I've heard that before.
That's right. Okay, let's talk about So it's been actually 10, 11 days since we last did a podcast, which is just the way the schedule worked out, I suppose, with the Sydney test and whatever. But a lot's happened, and I know this is kind of old news now, but I want to talk about the NESER catch against the Sixers. I think that was kind of one of the things that went around the world with the Big Bash. I mean, a lot of the stuff is with the Big Bash is controversy, despite, the strikers chased down 230 the other day.
Not to be confused with the NESER call.
He's out. He's out now.
Yeah,
he's out.
Yeah,
he's
well
out.
done.
Adnan Syed, he's out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that NESER catch was. I think everyone's already had their say on it, but I mean, we haven't had a say on it publicly yet. I just my only take on it was like I actually did that. I told you before.
It must be nice.
No. I did that. I did it in the UK 12 years ago, and like. I was feeling down long on. It was like a flat catch, and I was like standing on the rope, and then like I extended my arms out, and then the ball hit me and it sort of like propelled me over the thing. So I threw it up in the air, and I didn't do it well enough, and I threw it up, so I was like out of bounds and jumped up in the air just like NESER did, patted it back and caught it, and like no one really knew what the rule was or what the law was rather. So I just kind of like just caught and like rolled it back to the umpire, and then like the batsman just kind of like stood there and then it was like a moment of silence, and he just like walked off. So like, and that felt a bit like it's the same as this instance. Like it
probably wasn't the sequence of how you did it. More just like you're pretty far away, and you can't really see if guys are over the fucking cones or not.
Yeah. True.
Why is he tossing it up a lot? He's just inside the field of play.
That's a really weird celebration. Yeah. So I like to dance. So anyway, I think everyone agrees that shouldn't be the rule. Like it shouldn't be out. It's just silly. Like otherwise, you could just be standing in fucking row Z, and then just jump up in the air and catch it. I mean, it would be a weird starting position for it to be fair, but yeah, that shouldn't be out, right?
Yeah,
it's weird.
So I don't think there's any doubt that the law was correctly applied.
Yeah.
That is out according to the laws, but I agree with you that like it seems to me that they've skewed the law to provide for more dismissals with that kind of catch. I did note a lot of people saying, well, you should reward spectacular fielding. I just think there's heaps of spectacular fielding without permitting guys to like be able to use to be able to go beyond the boundary to control the ball. Like I just think if you're needing to do things beyond the boundary to control the ball, like where your feet are in contact with the ground, like whether you comically jump or not to catch, like to do something with it, you're still doing it where the ball would ordinarily be 6. I just think your body needs to be inside. Really. And like, I just think it seemed instinctive to a lot of people who and I had to use the word like played the game, but like it seems instinctive. Even NESER, who like if you look at it closely, he tried to throw it back into the field of play, and it kind of slipped a little bit, so he went that way, and he did exactly the right thing. It's all this talk about first contact and stuff like that, but I thought the ball had done enough to defeat him, and I think they need to amend that law a little bit because there's still heaps of really good shit when it comes to those kinds of catches.
100%. So that was Jordan Silkler who hit that. Nearly 6 in that game. Then he was also out.
Fuck, it was a great shot too.
It was
a great shot.
Mate, I'll tell you what, that NESER catch, the original catch is a fucking screamer.
Yeah.
Did you see Ben Cummings one last night?
No.
Oh, it was down at third man. I think it wasn't Silk again, was it? No. But he took a fucking screamer. But I just thought that it
Saw
almost
Silk get out the other night where it wasn't even off a wide.
well, that's what I was about to say. There was also one where there was a fucking snicko, and then like you looked at the front on view, and he's missed by about 15 centimeters. So he's a bit unlucky, Jordan. But
the Snicko's getting hacked like Mark Cricket was a few years ago
yeah,
by that player.
Yeah,
anyway, yeah.
There's also Zorba's attempted Mankad / run out, whatever you want to call it. I saw that actually the Mankad family have said no, they want it.
Yeah,
they want it. Mate, the whole
people out there saying like, don't take his name in vain. Now
they're
their fucking
fuckheads.
grandson's
They're
coming out and gone, we're
fuckheads.
fucking proud.
Also,
and that's what I thought it would be.
Mate, it's the same argument as being like, it's a perfectly legit, but don't call it that. So like, fucking make up your mind.
Don't
you
fucking
police
me while we
exactly.
police the laws of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to what I say. I'm right.
That's right.
Anyway, that was another one went round the world for the BBL. So it's been good advertising, but you know, and we agree wholeheartedly that was a good play.
I'm very pro Mankad, which we can call it now. And I agree with Zampa, who said on an interview the following night, I guess I'm a Mankadder now. But and you know, as we, I don't know if people watch the dailies here, but I don't know. I mean, you know, Zampa does it. One of our guys does it. You're one of our friends. Absolutely on board with that.
Yeah, he's a
competitive guy. He's a winner.
He's a winner.
He saw a bit of miss. He loves the Stars. He wants them to win. It's competition.
Yeah.
Ashwin does it. I don't know. Something about it just doesn't really.
I don't really like
tally.
it. I don't really like it.
Don't know what it is.
Yeah,
don't know what that is.
Don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And it worked because Rogers then finished with 5 for 16, so really got in his head there, Zorba.
Zampa went up to him after, so I guess I fired you up then. It's actually just helping young kids come through. I don't know how old Tom Rogers is.
You know,
there's a couple of
them. You know, with the Mankad, like I think we said this like maybe a year or something ago. Like, this is just going to be what it is now. Like the Mankad is just in play. It's and there's going to be
more though.
And there's going to be a period of like a harsh learning period where it's like, that's fucking, and like I don't like it because I suppose I'm a bit dinosaur myself, where like I just look at that and it's like, I think that's fucking shit. But it's just going to be in play, and someone's going to do it in a test match. Like we saw what Stark was doing. He warned, was it Van der Dussen that he was doing it too? When he was in the test team, he doesn't play anymore, but I think he warned him a couple of times. It was De Bruyne, Kevin's lad.
Yeah. I keep saying the little at the end.
Yeah.
De Bruyne.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, he warned him a couple of times. Like, it's someone's going to do it, and like, for me, it's shit. And like, but you know, if we're going to win the Ashes like that, I'll have a look at it. Like, you know, because I'm a winner.
Oh, it's another one. I think it's okay to take the position that you don't really rate the law. I don't think the punishment fits the crime. And there's a lot of arguments back around little advantages that batters are able to steal and stuff. I think there's lots of things in the game where you can steal with a little bit of risk, and you want to just get that balance right. I think the reason the issue with that style of dismissal exists is because people instinctively don't feel like the punishment fits the crime.
Right.
Some people might. That's fine. So I think if you've got an issue with it, you've got an issue with the law. And as I said, you know, I mean, let's watch the stigma become unraveled. I think it's going to be some funny shit. I reckon if you're like a real man, I'm trying to sort of retire saying nonce so much because people might start asking, what's the preoccupation with that word? But like,
retire the number, retire the word.
That's right, retire the word.
Hang it from the bleachers.
I would just challenge people, if you're really for it, like, do it yourself, like lead it, like be the change you want to see.
Very simple, Chalk.
Very simple, Chalk. Stay in your crease. I wonder if that guy's ever Mankaded somebody. I just want to say also, just going back to that NESER game, earlier in that game, speaking of like a bit of BBL hype, Josh Brown, who's opening the batting for the Heat on debut.
Josh Brown?
I'm not getting involved in that shit. But Josh Brown just took down the Sixers deluxe, and it was some clean ass hitting from the a guy that was just described as a grade cricket debutant. I do think grade cricketers have become really maligned, you know, at the pro level. Now that's part of that's a rite of passage. Yeah. But if you come up through grade cricket and not through like 17s and 19s, you're ultimately like, you know, not accepted by the commentators. This guy's playing grade cricket. Like to those who don't know the system or whatever, they would honestly think he's playing like in fucking bare feet in his driveway with a wheelie bin and a tennis ball. And he is.
With a kangaroo cricket set.
A kangaroo cricket. That's right. Tennis ball taped up, maybe a little fucking water.
It's Marnus's backyard.
Exactly.
Driveway,
he's just come out and he's living his dream. But like, he's smashed him, and he's done it a couple of times since. I actually think they should stop denigrating grade cricketers as well. It's not a cesspool of amateurism.
I think they should change the name of it to like something like grandiose, like sort of like Premier cricket or something like that.
Premier.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's the Premier cricket competition. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Jai Richardson's out for the rest of the BBL season with a hamstring. Yeah, he's done a string. He had a good start to the season as well. I think he was on 15 poles, maybe, if I made that up, or something like that.
Always.
Anyway,
Always.
but I'm looking at that with he'd be in the squad for the Ashes. He'd be part of the rotation. Yeah. Like he's had a.
Is it a bad string?
It's not a bad string.
Oh, okay.
But I think they're already heading towards the Big Bash. So if you do a string, there was only 2-3 weeks left of the Big Bash. So
he's all right for the Ashes.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, he's had a number of injuries now since he debuted for Australia.
Is he in the category of being injury prone? Would you say personally?
No.
Prone to injury?
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm not saying that. That's a big call.
Yeah. Mate, what about the strikers chase? I think the 5th highest or 4th highest chase in the history of T20 competitions. And the first one was Georgia versus Serbia. So that doesn't count. The second one is Australia against New Zealand in 20-something, 240 or some shit.
Doesn't count.
Exactly, small grounds, rugby stadiums. But the Strikers chased down 230 thanks to a friend of the show, Matt Short, in his first game captaining the Strikers. 100 red. Scored runs with Chris Lynn, who hit 64. They hit 120 out of 54 balls between them in that partnership. Chris Lynn now leading run scorer of the tournament. Well, Matt Short setting leading run scorer. So it's a big out for the Heat. What's going on with the Heat? What was going on there?
Mate, and more broadly, BBL's trending up again, baby.
Yeah, it is.
What's the secret sauce? I was thinking, BBL, the numbers are up, the metrics are up.
Yep.
Commercials,
retweets.
Crowds, retweets, fucking Mankads, and guess who's leading run scorer? Chris Lynn. Keep fucking Linny involved.
Yeah.
Keep him at the top of those charts.
The beast. Yeah.
And the BBL's going well. I don't know what it is. To be honest, you asked me before this show, you've been watching much of the BBL, and I said, look, I wouldn't put myself in the category of much.
Geez, much is strong.
But that's okay. But there's hype, and there's a nice buzz about the crowd. The ambience on TV when you turn it on seems good. Part of the secret sauce may be it's not COVID anymore. COVID's not on.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
A TV
Do you remember
show.
COVID was a thing?
Yeah.
We literally just did a rat test before, so we could go talk to some players later.
Yeah.
So just on
I'm
that,
not ready for that
I'm
joke.
talking about the scheduling now. So the BBL is now. We're talking about some ins and outs. So Chris Lynn he's now fucked off. He's gone to the US. So Lynn and Rashid Khan, they're leaving Adelaide, but then they get Carey and Head back.
Oh, you're sparkling there.
No, it's all good. So for the Heat, Billings and Munro, they have left, but they get Marnus and UZZIE back. Hobart lose Shadab Khan. The Renegades lose Hussain, but they get DeMarcus Boogie Harris back. The Stars have lost Trent Bolt. Perth have lost Faf. But they get Bareback Morris and Agar. The Sixers have lost Vince and Chris Jordan, but they get Smith and Lyon back. And the Thunder have lost Rousseau and Hales, but they get Warner back, obviously.
So it's like they lose seasoned, in-demand global T20 players, but they then bring in
Harris and Lyon.
high-profile guys that we've seen on TV, which I'm fucking big on.
That's right.
I know that face.
Mate,
it's all about players and recognition.
This is what the Big Bash is competing with, because there's the SA20 starts this week. Tomorrow, and then when does the UAE one start?
Well, unsure, but I think it's Friday.
It's a fucking joke, man. It's a fucking joke. These guys just playing, and I don't have a problem with the players.
It's a tour. It's like a golf tour, like a tennis tour. I'm on the circuit.
So Faf has had a good run for the Scorchers, right? The Scorchies for Perth Orange, and they might win the thing. Does he have any feeling at all if they win it? Because he's played 4 games. It makes me lose the respect of the professionalism of the sport. It's a fucking joke. There is so much cricket all the time and there just aren't enough good players go around that they're just guys just playing 4 or 5 games here and there. What's the fucking point of it? It's a Netflix show. It's a TikTok video. I find it very hard to get behind my team when there's transfers mid-season but then those guys just playing a different competition. They start again in fucking South Africa.
To be fair, all comps are like that. With the IPL, Faf will play 4 games.
That's true. Yeah.
And then you sort of do a celebrity thing, and then a couple others.
Then he goes plays the Legends tour.
Yeah, that's right.
10 days, bit of bunter apparently.
Yeah, I suppose that's the Shangri-La, isn't it? You want the right length schedule, you want the best players, and you want them to stay for sporting reasons.
Yeah. It's just frustrating when like there's like those guys like Shadab Khan contributed so much. Faf, Bolt's an excellent player. Rashid Khan, Chris Lynn, like I just leading run scorer. Like all these guys. Alex Hales was doing good stuff for the Thunder, and it's like. And now they just leave. As a fan of like the domestic competition in the country that I live in, it's pretty frustrating that that's a thing. But as I say, like I don't know what to do with that. It's just the scheduling and like
better to have loved and lost than not to have loved at all, though.
Yeah, good point. And to that end, this show is brought to you by Budgie Smuggler.
Oh, that is relevant in the next few weeks.
that is relevant in the next few weeks. Use the code CHAMP at checkout. Budgie Smuggler. I tell you what. I was under the impression that it was going to be a cold and wet summer, and in December it wasn't great, but the last few weeks in the cities that we've been in, it's been fucking nothing else other than sensational. Unbelievable weather. Great day today. Beautiful day in Melbourne this morning. Say again?
Climate scientists are wrong again?
I would have thought so. Yeah, explain that. That. Beautiful day. I'm enjoying these beach days. Beautiful.
You reckon there's a little wet weather system coming around? I've had a few hot days. Fucking square that.
Square them up.
Square that, mate.
Yeah, I mean that is probably the case. Yeah.
You're saying it's given rise to some budgies looking nice on people.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying. You got your bucket hats, you got your towels, you got your party shirts, you got your swimmers yourself. You've also got like beer coasters. Like I've got it all.
They get a lot of earned media, budgie. Like the other day, it may have even been yesterday. I think Nathan Lyon had been turned down for like the third LBW where the ball was hitting the stumps in a row, and then like two blokes are just hanging their asses over the fence with their nice Gary Budgie Smugglers wanting to be signed.
Perfect.
I don't know if they brushed it or just didn't see it or whatever, but I thought that would have been a nice touch as well. You've missed out on 3 polls. You're probably not going to bowl your side to a Test match victory at the SCG, but come and sign my ass.
Have we spoken about, maybe not because it's probably embargoed, but let's talk about it anyway. In this series that is about to premiere this week, Amazon's The Test Season 2, we have seen Alex Carey and some budgies in the dressing room.
Yeah, we can't talk about it.
Why?
Can't talk about it. That's because it's embargoed. I mean, I don't think they'll particularly mind. But
I'm just saying, just keep your eyes on what.
Keep your eyes peeled.
What Alex Carey's wearing and which pair of budgies he's wearing.
Yeah, that's right. It's alleged he's doing that. I mean, I actually think he wears them every game. So whether or not it's turns up on TV or not.
Okay. All right. Well, budgiesmuggler.com. Use the code CHAMP at checkout. And of course, Pez, T20 Stars. Anyone who's a friend of TGC is a friend of T20 Stars. Use the code TGC15 for 15% off the full T20 Stars range.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think you can even go on t20stars.com, and I think there's a couple other promotions knocking about as well.
Free returns as well.
Yeah, I think you may even be looking at 30%, 40% on t20stars.com now.
Look at that.
If you have a look.
Also, if you want to just get behind Watto generally, you can get his book, Winning the Inner Battle.
Yeah, which he talked about at the live show in a very engaging way, just talking about how he changed his career. And he talked about it in terms of getting out of his own way.
That's right.
And we just put it to the audience like, I bet most of you blokes want to get out of your own way, even though you won't admit it. Yeah. And then heaps of them just waited after the show and bought books off him.
Yeah.
So Winning the Inner Battle.
I think you can get that at shanewatson.au.
.au.
Yeah.
So no .com. Yeah. Just get straight into it.
If you ShaneWatson.au.
I
mean, that's not what we're supposed to be talking about. Just thinking about that book generally and the lovely message that he did when he signed his book for me. Anyway, as I say, t20stars.com. 15% off the full range. Use the code TGC15 at checkout if that is your want, and I know that's your want. Pakistan, New Zealand, the second test in Karachi. So the first test was drawn, despite Babar Azam declaring with 1 hour to go on day 5. Did you see that? Yeah. So Pakistan set New Zealand 138 to win. New Zealand faced 7 overs, so they need to go 20 and over. Babar Azam was like, well, you never know what can happen. It felt very, I'm trying to be Ben Stokes, but I'm not. And then New Zealand finished 1 for 61 or 61 for 1.
That would have been so awesome.
If they chase them down.
Oh, like if both teams went for it, like if they were just going for it.
New Zealand did go for it, and they lost a wicket. I think Bracewell got out maybe. They sent him in.
Going for it? Like one goes, man. See you later.
Well, they were going at 9s. It's pretty good. I mean, but they need to go at 20s. It's fucking wild. Anyway, they had to go off a bad lot anyway, so that didn't happen. Anyway, this second test in Karachi, I think the first one was in Rawalpindi. and it got Dr. Point again for being substandard pitch, and then the PCB challenging that. I think I read that, or I didn't. One of those two things. Okay, so New Zealand made 449 in the first innings. Conway made 122 opening the batting. Then Pakistan made 408. So that's 41 behind. Sword Shakil hit 125 red off about 380 balls.
Mm-hmm.
Then New Zealand made 277 for 5 declared. That meant that Pakistan needed 319 to win or something like that. Pakistan finished on 304 for 9. Sarfraz Ahmed, who's been back into the side of after a long time away, he hit 118, then in good time as well. I think 140, 50 balls, something like that.
So you're looking at those scores and you're thinking, this is a fucking great game.
It's a great game. Okay, so there's 3 overs remaining, 15 to win, 1 wicket in hand, and then the umpires Alim Dar and it might have been Michael Goff. Michael Goff, Goff, the umpire. Yeah, Michael Goff. I think they called the game off for bad light. I watched the day for the end of day 5, and to be fair, it was very dark. When you whittle it down to like 3 overs left, 15 to win, 1 wicket, you're like, okay, this is fucking set up for anything. It was fucking dark, and it was coming for a while. That like they weren't going to play the full overs. What's his name? Naseem Shah came in, and so New Zealand had like 10 guys around the bat, and Naseem Shah hit like a 6 and a 4 of his first 2 balls. So like they were going to block it out. Then Naseem Shah was like, I'm scoring some runs here, I reckon. And then like time was being wasted because they had to like go and chase the ball. It was like the Kiwis were like fucking like sprinting to get the ball back. Ish Shodhi was bowling and Bracewell, because about 4 overs before then, Alim Dar said, if you want to keep playing, no pace, you have to bowl spin. Yep. So it was coming. But like you look at this and you're like, fuck, like it could have been a great setup for a great finish. But
can I read you? This is from Crick Info. Yeah. Himanshu Agrawal. I thought it was beautiful writing in the report. It was just started. An epic 4th innings century to cap off a dream comeback series. The set batter getting severe cramps and also running out of partners. Artificial light taking over. A late wicket just after the second new ball. 8 down. Nervous expressions in the crowd. The light meter in business. Only spinners allowed to bowl. A good low catch at a crucial moment. 9 down. The umpire asking the last 2 batters to hurry up. And then just, bad light. I mean, both teams wanted. Wasn't it that if Southie brought a quick back on, that would have been tantamount to ending the game? It got to a position.
A few overs earlier,
yeah. So it got to a position where, according to this report, only really New Zealand's could win the game.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And so Pakistan weren't that interested in it. Yeah. And then Naseem Shah went like 6-4-3 or 6-4-2 in 3 balls, and it was like then they went down from 27 with like 3.5 to go.
Yeah.
To 15 with 3 to go. So it's like, it's pretty close. But like when you look at the footage, like you can see the close infielders, they literally have 4 shadows around them, like per person. So it was fucking dark. Like it was dark. But
could Pakistan have taken the light? Did Pakistan want to keep playing?
So I believe the rule is now they don't get offered the light, do they? But surely, like,
because wasn't it like it passed that, like they took a reading on the first day, then that becomes the measure, and then if it like sort of goes past that, then they can't use it.
That's right. I mean, it does seem a shame, but
does to me as well. So I think if both teams want to play and
win, but I think that's the point. I think like both batters were like, we don't want to play. That was kind of the thing. So Pakistan, they've obviously played against Australia, England, and New Zealand in 8 Test matches. They haven't won a single one of those. It's been 4 losses and 4 draws. England obviously win the series 3-0. There's just so much to be said, and I know English people, especially in like basically every single comment on any one of our videos about, boys, just score your runs quicker. I mean, it's kind of right, like it's just I don't know how many teams can do what England have done, given like they've just got so many great players that score so quickly. But I mean, England also took 60 wickets in that series to win. I mean, we were saying this before, weren't we, last week maybe, that it's fucking amazing. I mean,
almost the headline of that series. Probably not, given some of the fucking scorecards we're looking at. Yeah. But 60 wickets over those 3 tests, or whatever it was. I'm not sure how it played out, but to basically take the wickets needed to win the test.
I mean, I got to say, like from a Pakistan point of view, 0 wins in 8 Test matches at home. That's diabolical. Like for us, I suppose, like
especially after so long out.
Yeah, exactly. Well. But I mean, I suppose their strength is their strength is their pace bowling, and like those wickets just do not suit pace bowling. I mean, that's
Pakistan fans saying, let's get it back to the UAE.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, they were fucking grim times as well. Anyway, that's the end of that series. Okay, India and Sri Lanka are playing in a white ball series. They've just finished the T20 series, and they're going to a few. They're now going to a few ODIs as well. But first and foremost, we should talk about Rishabh Pant's car accident. I'm sure many people have seen either pictures or footage of the car accident in, where was it? It was in Delhi. It was in Mumbai. It was in India somewhere. I'm sorry. I don't know.
He's traveling to New Delhi on the Friday morning last week.
And the footage of the accident is fucking horrific. You see the car afterwards. I mean, it just seems that it's amazing that he's even alive. We understand that he is not going to be playing a part in the IPL, such as his injuries. So that's obviously by the end of the IPL, it's another sort of 4 or 5 months away. So it's his injuries are obviously extremely serious. I think he was in critical condition for some time. He was moved from different hospitals to specialists. First and foremost, it's the best news possible that he's alive, and that I think is going to be okay longer term. The bad news is, from a short-term perspective, we won't get to see him when he is playing, or when India are playing that against Australia, and then obviously in the IPL generally. That's probably inconsequential, just to the fact that he's alive and he will continue living his life and get to see him play again. But fuck me, that was some scary shit. I've seen him, like, the footage. Yeah, if you want to find it, you can find it. You know how to use the internet, but a pretty.
I don't know why you'd want to.
No, it's fucking scary and grim. Yeah. I don't know if you want to say anything else on that.
Oh no. I think you spoke really well there. I've got nothing else to add to that. I did read today that he has had successful knee surgery as well. So obviously ticking off things to bring him back to relative stability. Reading between the lines, I presume that his journey will be more mental, than physical, but not close to it, and don't know. I just wish him all the health in the world, and I can only echo what you say.
Right.
That, I don't think these are cricket matters. I'm just very happy that he survived that accident, because it seemed to be going at some serious pace.
Yeah. So to now somehow link that back to India playing a series against Sri Lanka.
Kummayadav. That's quick.
Yeah. So India, this is being played in India, by the way. They won the series 2-1. They won the first game. They lost the second game, but they won the third game comfortably because Sri Lanka hit a 51 ball, 112 red in game 3. That's his third T20 century in 6 months. Unbelievable. He now has 4 T20 centuries. That's equal with the most ever with Rohit Sharma. Glenn Maxwell's actually next. He's got 3.
And do you know who else is after that?
No.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Colin Munro you may have got.
Colin Munro.
And then after that, Sabawoon Divizi from the Czech Republic.
I'm sorry, that doesn't count.
Well,
that doesn't count.
Rohit with 4,
Yeah.
Sky with Sky. Now tied on 3
Yeah.
is Sky, Glenn Maxwell, Colin Munro, and Sabawoon Divizi.
So Sky's only got 3.
According to this Cricinfo infographic.
Oh, okay. Well, in any event, I mean, Sky's had 3 in 6 months. It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean 3 in what is it? Only 43 T20I innings. Pretty good conversion. Batting where he bats.
He didn't debut for India until he was 30.
Yeah. So what's doing there? Shastri issues.
Yeah. Hey,
Any danger of picking him?
Hey, a few people have been saying, like, it's time to get him in the test setup. I mean,
yeah, fuck it.
I mean, I got no idea what his Ranji Trophy record is, but I mean, this is like
Great way
fucking pretty good going.
Great way to get in the way of his other stuff as well from an Australian perspective.
100%.
Give him a bit of red ball stuff and a bit of other stuff to work through. Just see if you can actually blunt the whole thing.
That's right.
When he plays against us. So yeah, I mean he's the best in the world by streets. He's changing the game. Number one, he's just so excellent to watch as well when he's in full flow. I have never seen a batter who is able to do so many different things to the same ball and just completely confound the bowler and where to bowl. Good luck to him. It's fucking great to watch.
Yeah. What else is great to watch, Pez, is when you shave your balls with Manscaped.
Well, we're not. It could be. there's contractual conversations going on with Manscaped.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
so, if you want to get Manscaped, do it. Up to you.
Use the code TGC, 20% off free shipping.
Yeah.
One thing that is going on, Pez, though, is Ponting Wines. Pontingwines.com.au. Use the code GETAFEW at checkout. Pontingwines.com.au. Use the code GETAFEW at checkout. I think it's 20% off. And let me tell you, now it's now the end of the festive season for me, but I have enjoyed several Ponting Wines over the course of the summer. Especially when they sent us like several cases free.
We asked for them.
We did ask for them.
You don't hear a couple of cases knocking about there.
But we had them on stage during all our live shows. Several fond memories drinking Ponting Wines with Ricky Ponting, with Shane Watson, with JL. We didn't have him in Perth. We didn't get him in Perth just yet with Ferg.
No.
We had a glass with Ferg on stage. Cal Ferguson in Adelaide. That was great as well. But I don't know what else to say about Ponting Wines. I mean, it's an absolute. It is genuinely a very, very good drop.
Good drop. Well, I took it down the coast in Melbourne or in Victoria to in a couple of well-to-do areas, and there are people who aren't necessarily cricket aficionados who raised a brow at the association.
A celebrity brand?
Yeah, well, at the association of Ricky Ponting, more of a hairy four-armed beer-drinking man with red wine, and then after drinking, they were like, "That is a fucking drop."
Yeah,
and
seriously.
A half.
Yeah.
Particularly on New Year's Eve, a couple of not necessarily cricket people were just like, "That is a great wine." No one can verify whether or not that happened. I'm just a man doing a sponsorship, but I just asked to be taken at my word.
Pontingwines.com.au. Use the code GETAFEW. Seriously, use the code GETAFEW. All right, hashtag AskTGC. Pez, Tom wrote in. He said, I had recently got in contact regarding the new Bachelor Australia ad where some coat takes a solid 8 on a date, which is basically an indoor net sesh. I've just watched the same ad again and forgot to mention that this dickhead leaves a ball which is dead straight and coming down to about 45 clicks, and the solid 8 bowls him. So other questions I ask is if these two are to last, doubtful, is he fucked and she will always now have the dominance, and do you think this will result in cricket role play? Kind regards, Tom.
With any luck, I mean, maybe this dickhead knows exactly what he's doing. Maybe he has a kink for domination. He wouldn't
getting fucking rock and rolled.
Yeah, well, it's a holistic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe
he sees the ball coming down middle leg and he's going, oh.
Maybe he's on a gravel road again. Maybe
I'm going to kick this.
Maybe that's his play.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he read it. You wouldn't find. Not that I've read this or gone near it, but I doubt you'd find it in the book The Game. But
yeah. I mean, how do you feel about going on a date at an indoor cricket centre?
I feel like my skin crawls.
I mean, we've had conversations over the years about stag do's or bucks parties being held at indoor cricket centres. I remember once having a birthday party at an indoor sports centre, of which there's like a volleyball thing. Now, I think that was my 24th birthday.
Yeah, that's right. I was 35.
No, I think
we're all wearing ankle bracelets.
Had to find one which wasn't near a school. That was the hardest bit.
Yeah, very awkward having to write to the guy who's having the party saying, "What's the radius from the nearest school?"
Is within 800 metres of that kindergarten.
Kindergarten specifically, so that's on the nose for me. But.
Fucking hell. Anyway, I think I would have been in the 9 to 11 bracket.
Yeah,
age bracket.
That's heaven, isn't it?
Oh, it was absolute. It was a fucking day out.
I went to a birthday party at Kingsgrove Sports Centre once.
They had indoors.
Yeah, but you're
picking up bats and shit.
Mate, we're just going to the fucking equipment.
Fuck yeah.
They just literally just walk around, just pick up equipment.
One of the best
birthday party.
One of the
fucking
best
job done.
6
hours.
6 points in a birthday song.
Lolly bag is just a couple of fucking cricket balls, key rings and shit.
I had a club volunteer at my club. Used to call his dick that.
Kingsgrove Sports Centre.
No, lolly bag.
Oh.
Kingsgrove Sports Centre. But I mean, a date.
Not even in Kingsgrove.
So yeah. So a date as an adult
a date, like where it's like, we're gonna meet to sort of like connect.
Now I understand the concept of television being like, the construct of television having to be a confected scenario.
Yeah, producers there going like, leave one now.
This would be good. This would be good. Yeah. But like,
he's not going to stand there and just fucking bosh her around. I mean, hit the cricket ball.
Hit into the side net. That's 3.
Yeah.
Down the ground,
Right.
4.
That would have been good.
Don't bowl there. Like that's how you play that
She's
as an alpha.
fuck?
Yeah, it's like fuck. Yeah. But I think
is it? I mean, I'd like to hear from women. Would they be turned on by someone taking them on a date?
Yeah, in a real world scenario,
Yeah.
the date is I'm going to go to Thornley Indoor Cricket Centre.
And he calls the venue of the date. Yeah. Let's go there. Then he pads up because I'm going to have a stick.
I'll have a stick. Yeah. Heels all flats.
And then
wrong. I'm having a stick. I
mean, if the woman steams in and has some like dark horse cricket ability, that could be hot and funny. I don't know if it could be hot, but I just want to hear from women. Are they like if they're coming in, they can't even play cricket that much, and they just rock and roll this poor bastard.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Are they feeling better about the relationship prospects, or is that like he will never be able to provide? For me and prospective
it
children.
Doesn't make you feel safe, does it? Doesn't. Yeah, that's not.
What would make them feel safe though? Like getting smashed back over their head. You know what I mean? Or just a forward defense. What would make them feel safe? Probably not being there at all, to be honest.
Yeah, not being anywhere near that environment.
Nowhere near it.
Nowhere near it.
I was in a relationship when I got her to feed me balls out of a ball machine.
You've done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Age 21.
Okay. I've heard and seen it done before.
Yeah, and it was fun. I did at one point strike the ball through the net, through the hole where she was feeding the balls.
Oh, shit.
And it just struck the little spinny wheelie thing, so everything was fine. But I do think often, what would have happened if that ball, which I sort of got onto it, I got all of it.
Yeah. But then sort of held up and was like, I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, well, I just said it helped in the deck. I didn't
a little bit toothpaste, actually. Yeah.
Toothpaste AstroTurf deck.
Ball machine.
Made 37 not the next day, so it was worth it.
Okay.
Coming at 7.
Yeah.
And just enjoyed.
What do you think her relationship is to that date when she? What was it? What was her happiness at the time? Did she?
I'll have to ask her. She's my wife now.
Okay, so it worked. Couple of kids.
Yeah. If we go on, does that mean if you go on to marry someone, everything you did preceding that worked?
Worked. Yeah.
I wouldn't say so. I was more like the worm, in politics. Some was up, some was down.
Sometimes maybe good.
Sometimes maybe good. Sometimes maybe shit.
Yeah.
I did that well.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. Will writes in. I play wheelie bin park shit on a Sunday in the picturesque part of Kent in England. To give you an idea of the standard, our vice skipper is on the larger side and often gets told to field at slip and gully because quite literally nothing will get past him. If the batter trickles one to deep third, it's usually a foot race between him and one of our younger lads at mid-off to save a boundary. Why so few people in the offside? Anyway, I have a predicament that I need advice on. As my team's premium all-rounder, bowling average of 70+ and batting average in single figures, I often find myself coming in as a finisher, inverted commas, with 5 or so overs left. This is due to our prick of an opening bat who makes Pujara look like Liam Livingstone. Some of his finest work was 17 off 92 pills in a 40-over game chasing 230, with his off-stump sent cartwheeling before a chorus of cheers from the pavilion as finally that cunt was dismissed. The reality then set in that someone was about to bat after 30 overs of drinking on the sideline, anything to make it the slightest bit bearable. All of this would be forgiven if he was a decent bloke, but he's never down the pub, and on the rare occasion that he is, does he get around in? Does he fuck? I think all of this would be solved if he just touched a boob for the first time in his life. This is some sick shit. And realises that cricket isn't live, and that Sunday morning shit in the World Test Championship final. Isn't the World Test Championship final. We're Division 3 Village League, for fuck's sake. His nickname of Blocker is very appropriate because I imagine it's what girls do to him on all social media platforms. Oh, I've got a bit to do with this question. Despite him claiming it's because he got a good defence. That may well be true, but don't do it on a Sunday when we're chasing 230 on a green top covered in dog shit. It's like a real caricature, this whole, Right. In terms of my own performances, my 10 dismissals last season were equally split between caught on the boundary and stumped, heroes exit, all because we needed desperate runs to make up for the shambles at the top of the order. My dad sees it differently, however, as every time the big shot comes out, I see him turn his head away and roll yet another cigarette. You won't get caught if you played along the floor, he says. Frankly, Dad, I'm not taking advice off someone with 2 plastic hips, an alcohol problem, and someone who starts every sentence with back in my day. So my question to you is, do I, A, don't say anything, continue to drink heavily while sat in the pavilion and watch my Sunday slip away at the hands of Blocker and his strike weight of 10? B, tell him he's ruining everyone's weekend, especially my dad's, and tell him that there's not going to be any talent scouts looking at technique on a cold Sunday in Kent. C, give up the game completely, stop disappointing my dad, and maybe spend some time with the family because they seem cool. Or D, realise all of this is out of sheer bitterness that my cricketing dream is gone and that my technique will never be to the standard of Blocker despite my far superior slog to cow. Cheers, lads, and keep up the good work. Will, you are living an absolute lie, but you're actually living the dream at the same time. Like, because what you're saying is like, I would be performing better if it wasn't for Blocker. If I was given the opportunities to perform, but I keep getting put in these scenarios where I just come into like in helpless situations where we need to go at fucking 15 a ball, and I just can't get that done because of this guy in the team. This guy is keeping your reputation, and he's actually keeping you in the team because you're not good enough to score the runs that you think you're going to score. He's part of the tapestry of it as well. Like you need him in the team so that you can feel better about yourself as well. You don't understand the role he's playing.
And you're binge drinking. Like, that is actually the most important thing about all of this.
And
like,
that's one complaint I have about this question, because it's really well written. It's got an almost kind of like AI sort of component to it. Like, it's like, please write a sort of semi-debauched story that's still polite in an English way about my experiences in cricket, and make the protagonist and antagonist like the worst guy. But like every time, like he says a few things that make me think it's leading to something deeply dark. Like, I've been drinking in the pavilion for 30 overs. Yeah. But then, and then he's about to say something about his dad, but his dad's just got a couple of plastic hips, and says keep it along the deck. Like, let's get this fucking darker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My dad's here with Lorraine. Who makes me call mum. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. Like, that's what I'm after. Like, I just think he's nearly there. It's 7 out of 10, but it's just restricted by a little bit of politeness. This question, there's a lot there that.
But Will has a drinking problem, and he thinks that he wants to be good at cricket, but that's the alcohol talking.
Yeah.
And
you're just saying the answer to this is enroll immediately in AA.
I'm just saying, like, I think you've got it pretty good, Will. You're drinking for 30 overs in the pavilion.
30 overs.
So 30 overs. That's you're looking at like 2-ish hours there in terms of club cricket rate. So you're looking at your 4 to 5 pints in 2 hours. Is that fair to say?
How are you
Something
going
like
out and playing? I just also like.
So you're having 4 to 5 pints. You're watching Blocker block the shit out of it. Then you go out there and you try and do some shit. Your dad's there for a start. Yeah, I think you're having a great time in Kent on a cold Sunday.
Yeah, how's your dad still turning up when you're drinking for 30 overs before you bat? Is he looking after you from a hospital perspective?
Is he actually your minder?
Yeah. Is that actually your dad, or is it your minder that you call dad? Like,
whose name's actually Lorraine.
I call him Larry. That's Lorraine. All of this would be forgiven if he was a decent bloke, but he's never down the pub. This guy's got drinking problem.
Yeah,
deluxe.
Okay. So he actually wants to drink with Blocker.
Yeah,
he wants to drink with Blocker.
He wants to drink with him.
Yeah, okay.
And all of, I think all of this would be solved if he just touched a boob for the first time in his life. So it's like he's listed myriad issues with this guy Blocker, the way he plays, his lack of commitment to the team.
Doesn't drink, scoring rate's low.
Doesn't drink. He's got his dad turning up with a couple of plastic hips, which is a problem for some reason.
Smokes.
Yeah, dad can't even walk, and he's turning up to support his son, and he may not even be his dad. It may be a minder because he's blind.
There's a trans woman called Lorraine.
The entire thing is solved if this Blocker touches one boob. That's sick.
All of a sudden, like this, like a wave of euphoria, like washes over him. Then all of a sudden, he's like, I can access the leg side now.
How did that? Blocker, did you touch a boob, mate?
Yeah. He's fucking down the pub. He's shouting jugs all of a sudden. All of a sudden, the team is bonding. You're winning games. Those Sundays become warm Sundays. You're having a lovely time. Become springtime into summertime. Everyone's having a good time. Just if he touches one boob. That's the great cricketer for this week. Thanks for sticking with us over the journey.
Got a show next week.
Yeah, we've got one next week. And if you're on Patreon, you get hashtag ASKTGC Fridays, of course, coming up this week. And also there's some stuff coming out later when we do some stuff here with this premiere for Amazon, which obviously we can't talk about and never will. All right, that's been the cricket this week. What a great summer it's been. See you guys next week.